Good morning, beauties. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Stephanie, Supercar Mom, and today we are going through the 2023 Ace Spade Rally recap. At home, we're just getting ready to go to the studio. It is officially the first day of snow here in the county. So, joining me today, obviously, is Lucas.
What's up, guys? I'm hijacking Steph's channel today. So you're stuck with both of us.
He's got a whole bunch of really crazy stories that he got from his perspective in his car that entire week. All right, so I guess we'll start with rally day 0. It was not super eventful, but we should probably start there. We all met up, so all of the guys that had signed up for the rally met in Toronto to pick up their rally stuff and to also meet each other so that everyone was kind of prepared and had kind of an outline of exactly what to do on rally day 1. Now, Ace Spade Rally, I don't know if you want to jump in. So a little bit of background
on Ace Spade Rally. For those that don't know what Ace Spade Rally is, it happens every single year. Sometimes there's multiple ones. This is like their biggest rally, like in terms of time. So this one was 5 nights, 6 days, and it went from Toronto to Virginia to Asheville, North Carolina, back to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then back to Toronto. So my brother and I used to dream of doing these rallies, and we would actually watch YouTube videos kind of just like this of people that were, you know, part of the rally or talking about the rally, or even people that just go with their cameras and shoot the pre-rally launch. But it used to be called Blacklist Rally for anybody who are the OGs, like Steph.
I had actually not done a Blacklist Rally, but it was my friend Saturn, who now organizes Ace Spade Rally, and my friend John that used to do Blacklist together. And then John got really busy with life and decided to gracefully bow out. And it's probably one of the best organized rallies, I think, that
it's probably one of the,
in the area for sure.
Probably one of the, yeah, it's one of the best probably in North America, I would say. Most people know it. There's actually a lot of people that come from the States up for this rally specifically. One other thing on day 0 is it's obviously very important to have your car rally ready, and unfortunately Jake put spacers on like I think it was a day or 2 days before the rally started, before day 0, and his car was rubbing really bad. So we actually really bad. So we ended up staying at Steph's that night in Waterdown, and we did a little bit of mechanic work. It's sucking.
You're not very good at suctioning.
Oh, I'm not good at, that's your job. Also, it snowed outside. Do you want a cold start?
Yeah, of course we want a cold start.
Our garage is very tight. It's good and bad. Do you want to go to the right and see if we can make it up this hill?
Yep.
Alright, perfect. We're going off-road.
Our neighbors love
us. How fun is that, babe?
The best.
The best. Oh, there we go. So, day 1 of the rally?
Let's start with day 1.
So we left from Steph's, and then we met everybody at the gas station, fueled up, and then we went to the launch point.
Yeah. Well, what happened was everyone was supposed to meet at the house.
Yep.
But everyone was running late.
Yeah.
Alex, who was never late a day in his life, forgot to set his alarm because he was so excited about the rally.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
So he had to meet us at the gas station instead, which was just before we jumped on the highway to go to Toronto.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So then we all met at the launch point. So there, I think is like pretty standard for every rally.
Pretty much.
You do like a launch origin point, and then everybody gets kind of like the maps, an overview of what's going to happen that day, safety breakdown, obviously, like be safe and don't speed.
Get to the border safely.
Get to the border safely.
Was the biggest one, and yeah, not everyone did.
So the problem was when we got to the launch point, we pulled in, like the main lot was full, and then we all pulled in, so there was like 5 of our cars, and we were faced the wrong way. So like we realized really early on that like there's like a competition to get out to the front of the line, because at the end of the day, like the cars in the front actually are the ones that are going to get pulled over less, because what happens is the lead cars are speeding, people get mad, they call in, then cops are flagged, then it's the middle group and the last group that end up having the most amount of problems on the rally. So we were amateurs and we left, we were dead last.
We were dead last when we left.
Yeah.
But we knew we had to get to the front as quickly as impossible. It's just we were dead last.
Yeah.
It was shit.
So we were dead last. By the time we got to the border, which was like maybe 40 minutes away, we were in maybe the top 10 cars that were there.
Specifically, get to the border safely. Do not speed in Canada. You will get screwed.
Yeah.
So we're all like, all right, we'll take it kind of easy.
So everybody was speeding, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Everyone was speeding like crazy, but there's points where you speed and there's points where you're like a little bit more cautious. Coming into a major international crossing border, probably not where you want to be pinning like 200 plus. So one of the cars that was with us, which was a Porsche, what do you call it? Is it a 917? Or 91, what's the 718?
718.
718.
Yeah.
He got pulled right before the border. He overtook somebody, I think, on the inside.
He
Did something dumb. He, like right at the border, right by the border. He like passed on the inside, and I think we have footage of him actually pulled over. But yeah, he pulled over. He like overpassed a transport on the inside or something, right at the border. So he got screwed. He got like $580 ticket right out of the gate.
30 minutes into the rally.
Where we live now, we have to take a ferry to get to the office, and the ferry comes on the half hours. And we just got here at like 11:05, so typically it's left by 11. And there's days where Steph and I are absolutely pinning it to try and get here before it leaves. The nice thing is it snowed today, so it looks like they're doing like some snow removal or something. We pulled up 5 minutes late to the ferry and they haven't left yet. This is like the luckiest day ever.
This is perfect. We always manage to get this ferry.
Yeah, it's like within seconds every single time.
Yeah.
So we just got in the studio, we figured we'd have a better backdrop here for the rest of the rally footage, although before we got here, we did a little bit of, we went.
Oh, it's so much fun. Threw a whole bunch of donuts in the
Yeah, except Steph might be car sick now. This is why I could never be a passenger on a rally or anywhere. Ever.
Well, I get like Matt and Arda's position because holding a camera and trying to keep it steady, like I'm usually okay 99% of the time in the passenger seat, but holding a camera and it sucks.
I'd vomit.
It sucks so bad.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up for sure.
Let's see if I got it right.
Anyway, so day 2.
So day 2 of the rally. Day 2 we woke up, it was the most beautiful like lakeside casino resort. So we actually woke up early, went for a swim, hit a workout. We were up early. This is one thing too with the rally. We made sure every single morning, there were no excuses. We had to be up at 6 o'clock. So it didn't matter if we were like partied late, whatever. We were up at 6 and like still hit a workout, still did all the stuff, so.
Who's we? I didn't get up.
Yeah, Steph did it.
No, I got up, I showered.
All the guys.
Yeah, the guys all did it.
Yeah, we still kept our stuff on point the whole time. So that day, from the day before, it was like leaving and getting stuck in the middle. Our one thing was like, we are not gonna be the last group out of here. So in the morning, there was a brief. At the night though, what did Serge do?
Oh my God.
Good morning guys. Somebody gave us all a little gift this morning. And if I had to guess, I think it was Serge. Check this bad boy out. Bam!
So he had silicone suction cup dildos and he put them on every single car in the park.
Oh, and then Alex didn't get gas. So Alex had to run at like 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning. We'd usually leave by 8 or the brief was at 8. Alex was like, did you guys get gas? I was like, yeah man, like 10 minutes before pulling into the casino, there was a gas station. So Alex and Sash rip out, get gas.
I remember that.
We're there in the brief and then they pull in just as the brief's ending. So as soon as the brief was almost done, like I was already in my car and I was like, today I am full sending. And so Tony, that F12 again, he was in the lead and I was him and myself were the first lead cars that day. And then the rest of our crew was in the back.
You guys were gone. They left all of us in the dust, all of us.
It was so sick. That was one of my favorite days of the rally because it was like driving in a dream. Because it was like, Tony was in the lead. Tony is an amazing driver.
Yeah, he's sick.
And that F12 is, as much as we don't like Ferraris, that Ferrari, yeah, we just like to hate on, Ferraris are actually sick. That one specifically is probably one of the best sounding cars. It's tuned like, do you know what exhaust is on it?
I don't remember.
Don't know.
But he's done so much cool stuff to that thing. It's
amazing. So it's like tuned like really high pitch though. Like it just screams. And so we were like, it was like one car and it was cool because we have some footage from the chase cars, like the rest of the crew. And it was like Tony and I were connected at the rear bumper to my front bumper. And so that was really sick. That was the first day where we had potentially like a lot of police issues. That was the first morning where the police were in the helicopters and we were getting the radios that were on the comms basically saying that they had air support. So we dipped out again a little bit early to one of the checkpoints. So then we got gas. Then that day was like the first day of all the pranks. So like everybody's car had stupid bumper stickers on it at the next gas station. Steph was writing stuff on my car. Cannon poppers, like all that stuff.
Oh, the confetti bombs,
yeah. The confetti bombs. So that day, then what did we do after that? So we got gas, where did we end up that night? That night we ended in Virginia?
Lynchburg, Virginia. Let me check. We have notes. There's so many things.
Yeah.
We went to the Skyline Drive, that cool national park.
Oh yeah.
With the whole group of us.
Right.
The bay in that huge parking lot with the overhang.
That was that day?
Yeah, and then we had lunch at that Blue Mountain Brewery, which was really cute. And then when we pulled into Virginia, the rain.
So that day 2 is the day that I got fucked?
No. It was the day after. Day.
No, because the day that we ate at the thing up top is the day that I got fucked.
When we finally caught up to Lucas and Anthony at a gas stop, then we stopped as we all ended up reconvening as the group, like the full rally, the whole 60 whatever cars. It was called Skyline Drive. It was this really cool like overhang at the park, and we did a whole bunch of drone footage and some cool stuff there. A few more pranks.
Oh yeah, that was I confetti bomb Christian's car.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I felt bad after that actually, because it went everywhere. I realized like those confetti things, they stick to your car and they fuck up your leather. Bad.
Oops. And then we left there as a group. We ended up in our own group again, and that's when you had your close call.
So I had probably the closest call that I've ever had. I don't even know how to tell this story. So we were going through the mountains and on the walkies, so every single rally you have comms. And
so important.
Your lead car is calling clear or oncoming. Those should be the only real...
The only thing that should be actually called out on the walkies are literally clear or oncoming.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so we were still getting used to our comms as well and like not tying up the channel. So it should really only be the lead car that's calling anything, and then everybody else should stay off the channels so it doesn't like tie it up. And so we had a situation where, we were going through the mountains and they're really tight roads, and so we were going up, and on this side, so the left-hand side, so driver's side of the road, was like it was an embankment. Like it literally, like you go off there, it's just like forest and like a huge mountainside. And so we were going up and our lead car was in front, and then in front of me was Jake. One thing that people will notice, like if you see some rally footage where it looks like you're going up a hill or into a blind corner and people are passing and it looks super reckless, if you're calling the comms properly, it's not reckless, because there's a lead car in front that's already made that clean, clear pass and is radioing back, clear, 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 and allowing the other cars to then proceed with the pass, knowing that there's no oncoming. And so you can do this in like 2 to 3 to 4 car blocks, and then everybody gets through and it's not an issue. What happened was, coming up this mountainside, there was a bus, so a school bus in front of us, and it was the roads were very tight, and the school bus is in our lane, lead car, Jake, me, Steph. So lead car goes around the bus and everything's clear, but it was going into like a slight bend. So as lead car goes through, calls clear, and we heard clear, clear. So Jake pulls out to go and I pull out to go. So when Jake and I drive, I know Jake's moves. I can make every move that Jake makes, and he can make every move that I make. Just the way that we drive, we're like inches off each other's bumper, and we just know each other's driving habits and skill levels really well. So we're confident always doing that. Well, what happened was, as soon as clear was called, there was a van coming around the bend that the channel got either jammed up, or all we heard was clear, clear, clear. And Jake pulled out, he made the pass, and as he's making the pass, he's seeing the oncoming van, And lead car's already gone, lead car's already through. Jake was like, this is gonna be super tight. I wish Jake was here to like validate this story, because this was nuts. So Jake is like, this is gonna be super tight. And after talking to Jake, after we got to the next stop, he was like, all I was thinking was, I hope Lucas didn't go. Like, I hope that Lucas isn't behind me. Jake pulls out and I pull out, and Jake's like just about to make the pass. So we're already beside the bus at this point. And Jake tucks in as quick as he can before this van comes. And literally all I saw when Jake pulled was like front grille of a van.
I still get goosebumps when you tell it, but literally, okay, so I was behind Lucas and I see him pull out, and at the same time I see this minivan coming like inches from hitting him, and all at the exact same time. The school bus moves over a touch, the minivan moves over a touch, Lucas pulls out a little bit extra than he normally would and pulls in. And I kid you guys not, they all missed each other by an inch, on maybe not even an inch. Like, he just snuck through and made that really, really crazy pass. I was the fourth of the group, so I was literally right behind Lucas, and all I remember is screaming at the top of my lungs. And I couldn't even react, and I was still behind the bus. I hadn't made the pass, and I just screamed because I swear to God, I saw his life flash before my eyes. It was
so
messed up.
When I made the pass out with Jake, when Jake went, Jake pulled in and tucked, and the way that the gap between the bus and the van, the thing is, I know the LP at this point really, really well. Like, I put a ton of hard miles on the LP. And I've been in some other like situations where it's just like Jake and I, and we're going through back roads and stuff, where I know that car really, really well. We did a lot of pre-rally driving at the level of what we would be doing on the rally. And so I felt very comfortable with that car. But when the van was here and the bus was here, there was no possible way that I could have made the gap by just going in like this. And so I had to make like a split-second decision to actually go out and go full throttle, like zero brakes were touched in this situation. It was literally like mash the throttle as hard as possible and hit that gap on like the hardest, like 45 pretty much. So it wasn't like a merge, it was like a out and fucking through the gap. And it was like, I knew that it was tight, but I like, after processing it, when I was talking to Jake, I realized how tight it was because Jake wasn't even sure if he was able to hit that gap, and he's like he's a great driver. And so he was like, my only thought was, I hope Lucas isn't behind me. As he looked in his rear view, he was just like, oh fuck. And so like, he thought for sure that it was gonna be a smash, but the bus pulled over at the same time. And so the key takeaway from all of this is, when you're on the rallies, you have to have total faith in your lead car, and you have to have total faith in the comms, and nothing can be tying up the comms, or it's literally like life and death. When you're doing like, you know, the speeds you're doing in the formations that you're doing them in, one small miscalculation really is like the difference between like life and death. And so that's where, moving forward, I think from that part of the rally, we ended up, I think we got a lot better on the comms.
Yeah, we were dialed at that point.
Yeah, and so, but also like for the lead car, it's super important knowing like that you're like, whenever I'm leading, I know I have 5 lives behind me that are my responsibility at that point. And if I call a bad comms and something happens, that's ultimately my fault. So
still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's still I like replay that a lot. And it's like, obviously you know what you're doing when you get it. At least you should know the risks before you get into these cars and drive them in that way. But it still is like a good kind of regrounding thing.
For sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was the highlight of day 2, and then we ended up at like this cool like mountainside bar area with like, we got food like pizzas and stuff. That was that day. 100% that was that day.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. What did we do that night?
Yeah.
So we leave the restaurant and then we end up with another group, and there was a Tesla on this rally. And yeah, Mike. So it was a Tesla Model S plaid. And he had actually was just trying to see if this car could, if an electric could actually do the rally, which it did. Mike's a phenomenal driver.
Great.
And we ended up like next to him and he's like, oh great, can't wait to rip with the Lambros. So we ended up splitting off again from the group. It was just 3 of us. It was just Jake, myself, Steph, and then Mike. So 4 cars total. And we ended up going through all these kind of back roads, the Skyline Drive or Skyline Parkway. And at this point, you're like 6 hours into driving for that day.
Exhausted.
So, yeah, you're exhausted. Like, it's crazy to even think like going through the itinerary of what we did. This is why like doing this video has been so...
We're just like, oh yeah.
Because you can't remember, like there's so much stuff that happens.
So many things happen in one day.
Jake summed it up really well. He's like, it's like 10 moments that most people have in a lifetime, you have in a single day on these rallies. Like 10 monumental things that you're like, whoa, that'd be sick if that happened in my lifetime. You do 10 of those a day, you just become like acclimated to just how cool it is. So we ended up going with Mike through the mountains. Took a couple weird routes that weren't where we wanted to go. But we ended up at this really cool kind of lookout spot. And then we grabbed some cool photos, insert here. And then as we're heading into Lynchburg,
the skies opened up. It started pouring. It was so bad.
It was horrible, guys. There were down trees everywhere. We were at a point, so the worst part of all of this is Jake and I did this rally with no AC. So going back through these torrential fucking downpours, Jake and I's windows, both of them are fully down because the cockpit of our cars is like 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
And Jake hadn't changed his windshield wipers ever on the first gen. They were so bad that they like were crumbling, and he didn't, I mean, in hindsight he realized how bad they were, but Jake had 20-year-old windshield wipers. 20-year-old windshield wipers. I was hydroplaning, he was hydroplaning.
I was hydroplaning.
Yeah, you were better than all of us because it was all-wheel drive, but I kept calling him like, I'm gonna slow down. Jake's like, yup, me too. And I knew that if Jake was saying that, then I was justified for being like, hey guys, I'm gonna hang back a little bit, because the whole cars were like, the whole group of us were just like.
And the thing is, we were doing this at like 40 kilometers an hour. So this was so bad that the roads were so bad that we were not speeding at this point. And the worst part for me was, so at that point, Mike right before that was like, Lucas, jump up and lead for a bit. And I was like, perfect, I can't see anything, because I did close my windows for 2 seconds because it was torrential, guys. Like the entire inside of my whole well, like the well of like my foot well or whatever, was actually had water in it. Like it was accumulating so bad. My troughs and the side panels of the door were completely full of water by the time we got to the hotel.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it was bad. So Arda and I, we rolled the windows up for like 2 seconds, and as soon as we rolled them up, the whole thing looked like it got foggy, and we couldn't get rid of it. So then we opened the windows again and it wouldn't go away, so we had to turn the heat on full blast. And I know Jake had the heat on full blast too. And when Mike goes jump up in front, I literally could not see anything. We were pulling the shirts off of our back in the car to wipe off the windows so we could see something, and Arda kept like wiping the window just so I had like a little block to see out of. It was horrible. That was the worst day of the rally by far.
My windows were up, the AC on.
Yeah, Steph goes, I had the seat heaters on. I had the seat heaters on the one day, and we're like in 140 degrees Fahrenheit in the cabin. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that was so bad. But when we pulled in, it felt like we were driving for 10 hours in this rain because we were going so slow and it was such sketchy conditions.
Oh, it's stressful.
It was so stressful. We finally pulled into the city and we pulled into the Virginian Hotel, which is a beautiful, beautiful spot. But where the parking lot was, so we parked in the back thinking it would be easier to get in. And it was still like just torrential downpour.
Oh, it was bad.
Just getting our luggage and running inside. We were outside for 4 minutes, soaked, like to the core soaked.
Yeah, there's photo. You'll see all the photos. We have tons of video of it.
It was so, and then we got inside, and as soon as we got out of the shower, the rain had stopped.
Yeah, and that
was so frustrating.
That night there was like an organized like car meetup, or like cool. Like an open thing for the community to come and check out. So I ended up going back out and moving the cars over there. And when I went to move Steph's car, they'd actually blocked off the road. So the police he was in the thing, and he actually came and opened up the gates and moved everything over for me. So that was really cool.
Yeah. But that show was busy. There were tons of people that night.
Yeah, there's still people that message about that one.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, so we did the show. We were down there for like a couple minutes, not very long. And then we did a dinner that night. We did a big steak dinner with everybody. And
that was fun.
same thing, we check in and I was like, at that point, I was like, or no, it wasn't quite that yet. I was like, Steph, I was like, I'll probably just sleep with you. Or you asked me like, oh, I'll probably sleep in your hotel.
Because it was still, because we weren't like official yet. Like we were hanging out, we weren't like official yet. And we were both like, do I ask him? Does he ask me? So I think it was that night, I'm like, you staying in my room? And he's like, and he played it cool. Yeah, I'll stay.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll stay in your room.
So the co-pilots went off to one room and we went to ours.
And it worked out great. The problem was we got 0 sleep the whole rally. So all these other guys were packing in at like 10, 11, waking up at 6, going, oh, it's so early, it's so tired. Steph and I were going to bed at like 3 or 4 and waking up at 6 and then starting again. So that was that by day 6 was rough.
Worth it though.
Yeah, chat and chit. I come through like what's good, these wigs getting split. Man better breeze than sprint. It's long if I choose to bite down on these pricks. X is a lyrical 4-4 and this, I make sure it's X that you wanna rally with. Oh, make a big man turn to a kid. Shout out scope and I'll flat out wigs. Never seen X's with